Hello, friends. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Advent of Code 2024, Day 8. And yeah, we've just been chatting about. Yesterday, while I was on the stream, somebody pointed me at a link somebody shared on Blue Sky about a video of basically they'd taken Highway to Hell by AC/DC and found LinkedIn profiles that sound like all the hang on. Let me show you. I'm going to mute it this time so that you don't get to hear it, so you can see what it was that we were looking at. So there's this one here. So I'm just gonna I think, yeah, we should be fine. But so basically what the video was is this thing here. So Heather Lisa, Evan Freed, Stevenson, Dickard, and Anne Wei Wei. And it's basically like Highway to Hell. Hello, Tom, how are you? And yeah, I played that for like 15 seconds before I realized that that was AC/DC on a YouTube stream and was probably going to get blocked. And sure enough, YouTube said, yeah, we got to take the whole video down. And it's the weirdest thing. I got a couple of videos out there which have got like, AC/DC and that kind of stuff on it. And I get notifications saying that they cannot be viewed in North Korea, Russia, or Cuba. But I don't know. It's so strange, the whole mechanism of who's allowed to see what and where. Anyway, welcome to the stream. So we're going to be looking at Advent of Code Day 8. But first, I just want to show you. So yesterday, where are we? We're there. CD Day 7, code dot. So yesterday I started playing around a little bit with whether we could turn the .NET solution that we came up with on stream into a version that worked in Rockstar. And so I was looking at the assignment from yesterday, or the puzzle kind of definition. And a puzzle definition, one of the hard things about like writing Rockstar programs is, I mean, writing minimalist Rockstar is easy. It's like writing Python with slightly different data types. But writing kind of lyrical Rockstar, you kind of need an idea. You need a subject. You need something you're going to write a song about. And I was kind of banging my head against the wall trying to think of an idea. And then I thought, well, hang on, why don't we every day Advent of Code gives us these little things. And so yesterday, it was all about some young elephants who were playing nearby, and they stole all the operators, and that's why there's a problem with the rope bridge and all that. And I thought, all right, there's the inspiration. And then I remembered the wonderful Baba the Elephant, or Baba the Elephant, or Baba the Elephant, depending how you do it. And yeah, Baba was an elephant, and I guess still is, because do fictional characters like die of old age, or is Baba still an elephant? And yeah, Baba the Elephant has this whole cast of characters, because there we go. So we got Baba the Elephant, we got Zephyr the Monkey, and we got Cornelius, who's the Celeste is the Elephant Queen, and Baba the Elephant has a bunch of kids, and Alexander and Flora and Pom and Isabel. And that, I thought, all right, there we go. So that's the idea. We're going to write a Rockstar program about Baba the Elephant King and his queen and his advisor and the monkey and everything. And so what I did was kind of went through the same thing. And so the program I came out with was this one here. So we got the bridge is broken, dawn is exothermic, Baba is king, he's with the bridge, dusk is pachydermic, the jungle is silent, rocket like the jungle boogie, the bridge is silent, rocket like Congo flamenco, it's with the jungle. Then Alexander takes your operators, which is cool, because Alexander's a baby elephant in the story. Cut your operators into pieces using the bridge, burn pieces at dawn using Baba into the waves, cut pieces at dusk using the jungle into the river, rock the boat, for every crocodile in the river, burn the crocodile using Baba, rock the boat with the crocodile, baby, rock the waves with the boat, give back the waves, baby. And then the whole function, so this is the recursive function definition in here, is Cornelius. Takes confusion and the circus. And confusion here, that's the equation we need to solve. And the circus is the set of functions that we're going to use to reduce the first two elements in that data structure. And then for every monkey in the circus, and so basically it does exactly the same algorithm of like a depth first search with recursion. There's a guard case in here. So let Zephyr be the monkey taking peanuts and popcorn. So peanuts and popcorn here are the first two elements of the array. And then the monkey is whatever function we're calling. So we enumerate for every monkey in the circus. So we give you a list of functions, every function in the list. We're going to try that. Let me switch the view across there. There we go. That's cool. So every function in the list, pass that to... pass the first two elements of the array into the function, take the result, put that into Zephyr, and then if Zephyr is higher than the answer, so we got an early bailout clause in there, and yeah. And I just kind of, once you get the vibe going with it, it like takes a lot of the kind of the tedious task of staring at the screen until you have a good idea, because solving programming problems, very, very seldom do you get completely like writer's block stuck. Because always either something just worked and you can see what to try next, or the thing you did didn't work and you see what to try instead. Writing lyrics and writing, fiction and anything creative, there's a lot of just staring at it going, hey Christian, welcome, how you doing? And so yeah, Pom takes tea and cakes, giving tea with cake, so Pom is the addition function. Flora takes hours and fun, giving hours of fun. That's multiplication. And then Isabel takes music and maths, and then silence is the empty string, so empty string with music with maths, using Babar here. Now Babar is king, he's with the bridge. The bridge is broken. Broken is a 6-letter word. So this initializes the bridge with the value 6. King is a 4-letter word, but then 4, he's with the bridge, is x equals x plus 6, so that initializes Babar to 10. So basically this block here, it just gives us some numeric constants. We got exothermic is 0, pachydermic is 1 because it's an 11-letter word. How long did it take? About an hour, I think. I sat down last night and was just like, I'm going to see if I can write an entire program about elephants. And then, yeah, so the functions are all in this thing called the children. So the children is Pom and Flora, and then Isabel shows up and joins that array for part 2. And then Cornelia, so every day in the sunshine. So the sunshine here is the inputs. So every one of the inputs. Listen to Celeste is going to read a line from standard input and put it into this variable Celeste. So until Celeste is silent, call Alexander with Celeste into the garden means call Alexander is the function, which is going to parse a line of input into our array-based data structure. Celeste is the input to Alexander, put the result into a variable called the garden, and then rock the sunshine with it. Yeah. Yeah, Luke says the hardest part about programming is naming variables. When you've got a story, they name themselves. So yeah, I was really quite happy with how this came out. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, let's take a look at day 8. But then I think this whole idea of let's see if there's like the Advent of Code people. Well, people. I think it's just Eric Vastel does it. But yeah, if Advent of Code has a cute little story, I'm going to see if we can do a Rockstar thing with the story. But first, we got to get the stars. No stars, no glory. So, all right, let's take a look at Advent of Code. Day 8. Resonant collinearity. Oh, that might be a good word to use. So we got an 8-letter word there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we got, yeah, okay, that could be fun. You find yourselves on the roof of a top-secret Easter Bunny installation. While the historians do their thing, you take a look at the familiar huge antenna. Much to your surprise, it seems to have been reconfigured to emit a signal that makes people 0.1% more likely to buy Easter Bunny brand imitation mediocre chocolate as a Christmas gift. Unthinkable! Scanning across the city, you find that there are actually many such antennas. Antennae. Each antenna is tuned to a specific frequency indicated by a single lowercase letter, uppercase letter, or digit. You create a map, your puzzle input. Okay, so frequency, so those are all on the same frequency, and those are all on the same frequency. All right. Oh boy. Okay. Antinodes. Fourier transform. Not Fourier transform, but I was doing a video recently about Fourier transform. Hello, Ronus. Hello, Aneroid X. The signal only applies its nefarious effect at specific antinodes See, it says antinodes, but the bit of the world that's where Australia and stuff, that isn't the antipodes, it's the antipodes. So surely this should be antinodes, or not. English. Based on the resonant frequencies of the antennas. In particular, an antinode occurs at any point that is perfectly in line with two antennas at the same frequency. Yeah. So for these two, all right, so Yerba and Yerba creates that and that. All right. Adding a third antenna with the same frequency creates several more antinodes. All right, so that one to that one gives you that one. And that one to that one gives you that, and that one to that. Okay, okay. Boy. All right. Antennas with different frequencies don't create antinodes, so A and A don't count yet, but then A creates no antinodes, but has a... Okay, so that one plus that one gives you that one. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Because the topmost eight... All right. Okay. Occasionally there are days when you look at Advent code and you just are like, like literal total blank, like what do we even do with this thing? All right. Work the problem, people. So, we got that. And we gotta do a... For any pair of antennas with the same frequency, there are two antinodes, one on either side of them. All right. So, okay, so you can't have 2 points, 2 separate points that are not on a straight line, because reality, that's just how it works. So any pair of antenna is going to create a pair of antinodes. So we just got to figure out... Yeah. All right. So, he says confidently. Okay. We've got to pull the thing into a grid. So first thing we'll do, we'll parse the thing, we'll turn it into another two-dimensional rows and columns type array, and that'll give us the coordinates of every one of these. Then we got to look for pairs of coordinates. And yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. I mean, I'm guessing, like, if we got 2 points in a straight line, use every one of those examples as test input before the bigger example input. All right. That's probably good advice. All right, so let's start that one. Okay, boom, let's do the thing. That's enough thinking. Let's write some code and wait for it to blow up spectacularly. Also, very exciting. You see the little 9? Yeah, .NET 9. I installed .NET 9 this morning, mainly to try and fix the... So there's a problem with Firefox and Rockstar, and if you're using Firefox on the Code with Rockstar website at the moment, and you make a mistake, or there's an error, like a parsing error, or the parser can't handle your input, it just goes into an infinite loop. It doesn't do it on localhost. It only does it when you deploy to the web. So yeah, and it's the tech is gnarly that makes that work. So that might be a little kind of bonus goal for today. Right, .NET new console -o day 8. All right, cd day 8, .NET run. Wow, look at that. 4 seconds to install the dependencies Why is it restoring stuff every time to build a console application that says hello world? I normally love .NET, but sometimes it's dumber than a ginger cat with his head stuck in a bag. Alright. Okay. Okay, right, let's do the thing. So, new file, paste that, save that as input1.txt, and I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to take that out. And so we've got program.cs var grid equals hello smab UK. So later this week, my partner is off to Germany to go to a bunch of concerts, and so Mac the cat is going to be staying with me for a few days. So tune in on like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you get orange cat action on the screen. Mac is going to be using his little orange brain cell to help us solve Advent of code. So grid is going to be file.read all lines, input1.txt dot select line goes to line.to array. And .to array. So there we go. So now we've got a two-dimensional array of rows and columns. So let's build a for var for each var row in grid. And I think, can I do row index in grid? No, I can't, but I can do grid.for each row and row index. Does a row dot for each. Is there no for each indexed? No, you just pass in a second argument and you get the index out of it. Row dot for each is going to take column and col index. Is gonna do that, and what I want to do is, let me take, what do we got in the input? So dot means an empty space. So if that's actually going to be cell and cell index. Yeah. Row call row. Yeah. Actually, no. What we want is for each line and row, and then for each cell call. That means that we know what line we're on. We know which cell on that line we're in, and we got the row and the column index of that thing. So if cell is not equal to dot, then the problem with switching between C# and Rockstar is you keep, like, your bit of your brain that remembers to put parentheses in keeps getting kicked out and then brought back in, then kicked out and then brought back in again. So if cell is not equal to dot, then we've found an antenna. So I'm gonna build a dictionary of char and a list of int. And am I gonna call it antennas? It's one of the things that always made me very, very unhappy as a developer is when the ubiquitous language is grammatically incorrect. And so you have to do it wrong because everyone else is doing it wrong, and you don't want to be the person who always does it right just to prove a point. Antennae, yes. I'm with you. This is no time for compromise. Antennae equals new, so we'll spin up a new one of those. And yeah. This is the thing where we need to do a, what does triad do? There's this thing in .NET generic types where you've got a dictionary of something and a something, and like I can't just do dictionary.add, because if I do dictionary.add and the things are already there, it's gonna blow up. I can maybe do dictionary.triad. Well, hang on, antennae. Attempts to add the specified key and value to the dictionary. And what if it doesn't, like... What does triad do? Unlike the add method, this doesn't throw an exception if the element with the given key exists. If the key already exists, try add does nothing and returns false. All right, that's what we want. So let's say antennae.try_add cell and new, and then antennae. So that means we've definitely got one. Cell.add, and we're gonna add row and column. All right, so that will give us Yep, okay, so there's that. And that's now going to say, oh, you can fix that using What do you mean fix using Copilot? What's wrong with it? There is no given request to the That should work. .NET index with for each with index. I know this exists. I can just never remember the syntax. Nature has antennae and technology has antennas. Really? All right. What am I missing here? C# for each with index. I know this exists because I've written it like in the last 2 days. It's a select. Select has an overload. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a for each. It's you can do grid.select line. So we could do this. We could say grid.select line row. And then we can do a dot for each on that. But at that point, this is getting a little bit unwieldy. Yeah, you select to build up the cell, and then you use for each. So we could do this. Welcome to Remedial C#. Today, Dylan, who has been using .NET since Visual Studio .NET Beta was released in 2002 and came on a DVD, will be trying to write a for loop. And that needs to be deconstructed separately, doesn't it? Because I need to initialize each bit of the tuple. For each var line, var row. Is that going to let me do that? Cannot infer the type of that. Yeah, bored now. Right. 4 row equals 0. Row is less than grid dot length. Row plus plus. C got this right in 1972. And Seeing all the C-sharp code makes me happy I took up Kotlin as my hobby language. Being newer, the language design benefits from common sense. It does. This is true. I'm sure. For var col equals 0. Anyone who thinks that a language being newer means it doesn't do anything dumb needs to go and look up the way datetime formatting works in Go. It is the most absolute tinfoil hat, underpants on head, unhinged piece of specification I've ever seen in any programming language ever. And that's new and shiny because Go is the language that was created from the ground up to not make all of C's horrible mistakes. Instead, they're going to make all new ones. But yes, it's, I mean, C# kind of benefits a little bit from the fact that we'd had a couple of years of Java by the time that came out. And so that things like checked exceptions, they were like, yeah, that's not really working out for them. Generally, I think C# has done a very good job of keeping a relatively kind of minimally comprehensible instruction set, but still being a very good general purpose language. Pardon me. All right. So at this point, we can say var cell equals grid arrow col, drop out of that, and then we can put in the little snippet of logic. And yeah, I'm sure you could do this in a single line of thing, but let's check the algorithms right first, then we can look for neater ways of parsing the data structures and so on. So now I can say for each var key value. What were you switching from, Smab UK? Refused to switch to C# till I got to about version 6. My hesitation with .NET was always, I thought C# was very good from probably version 2 when it got generics. Or that would have been .NET 2 with C# 3.5. Oh, VB. Wow! You are one of the very few people I've ever met who has used VB.NET. Seriously, for anything ever. So then I got for each var key list in antennae. And then I want a console.write key, console.write string.join list. So it's just me double checking I'm getting the right thing out the other side here. And we'll console.write line that. There's that. Let's .NET run that one and see what do we get coming out the other side. What is the theme? So the theme in this is called 2077. No, yes, you're right. I forgot to reinstate the check. That's the theme. There you go. It's beautiful. And it also has this lovely little feature that I don't know quite how they did it, but as you type, there are certain kinds of characters not doing it now. But there's this kind of little strobing effect that drops things in, and the characters change color and stuff. Yeah, I need to reinstate the cell check. If cell equals that, continue. Yeah, all right, there we go. So there's that, there's that, there's that, there's that. I am going to look up... What? No. Typo. Needs to be a dot, doesn't it? Yeah. All right, so that's good. That's parsed it out. We got that. So .NET 9 restore every time. Why is it doing that? Huh. Yeah, I know. Okay, good, right. And I don't know why .NET 9 is running a restore every time I do anything, but we'll ignore it for today and I can fix it later. Okay, so there's that. So now what I want to do is I need to identify each pair of antennae, and I need to identify the coordinates of the antinodes that will be created by that pair. So we're going to need a function that'll give me every pair of a list, right? So, yeah, folks, if you're watching on the stream and you want to chip in with comments are very welcome, but make sure you're actually watching live and you're not like 20, 30 seconds behind. Otherwise, by the time either you're going to see the mistake and you're going to point it out and I'll already have fixed it, or you're going to see the mistake and you're going to point it out. And I'm going to keep ignoring it and keep ignoring it and keep ignoring it for another 30 seconds, because that's how long it's going to take for me to see your comment. So, yeah, just if you're hanging out in the chat, you make sure you're watching in real time. Otherwise, we get weird time dilation, and it's like long-distance radio signals. Right, so we've got for each of our key list in antennae. Let's punch in that one. Yes, and as probably Julia says, the latency on Twitch is much better. Twitch is for streaming, YouTube is for publishing. And they both pretend to do each other's job, but they both kind of suck at it. Nobody publishes good video on Twitch, and nobody streams good stuff on YouTube. Or rather, you know what I mean. Yeah, watch on Twitch. It's where the cool kids are at. The latency is lower, and it's purple instead of red. And red is the color of danger, and purple is the color of awesome. Okay, so we got the antenna there. So now what I want to do is figure out how to get the antinodes out of that one antenna. So that means we need a... what are we going to do? We need a function that is going to return a pair of coordinates for... Actually, let's do a function here. Let me throw in an extension. Actually, no, let's do it as a function. So this is going to return... Yes, I realize that cultural signifiers, Android X in China and certain parts of Asia, red is a color for celebration and happiness and joy, and yeah, culture's a thing. And purple is the color of death. It's kind of weird. I wonder if there's some weird significance about how people were killed. Because if you kill people with a blade, you get a lot of blood, and blood is red. And if you kill people with a blunt instrument, you get a lot of bruising, and bruising is purple. Hello, welcome to the stream. Today we're talking about murder. Right, key list antenna. Let's write a function here that is going to return a list of int coordinates and find antinodes given a list of int antennae. So what do we got to do is we got to take each antennae in the list. And actually, this is about IEnumerable, so we can yield return stuff from it. Let's start with yield return 1 1, just to get the shape of the code right. And so there's that one, and then console.writeLine string.join find antinodes list.toArray. Can we join IEnumerables yet in .NET? Yeah, beautiful. All right, let's see what we get out of that. Bracket expected. I'll have done a for each somewhere on something. There we go. Boom. People in one of my group chats complaining about the wording on today's. All right, so we got that, we got that, we got that. And then let me move this little thing out of the way. There's this little, you see that? Look at it. Look, where is it? Come here, come on. You see the little thing there? Yeah, that controls the fans. And its main purpose is to show up when I think I've finished doing a screen recording video and be annoying. All right, so we got that, and we got that. The function is calling incorrectly. So now what we got to do is for each one of those functions. So we've got a like if we got a coordinate at 2, 2, and we got another one at 4, 4, that means that what we need to do is to take, so the solutions to this one are going to be at 0, 0 and at 6, 6, right? So what we got to do is take the absolute difference of each coordinate pair and return point x, y, and implemented plus minus operations. So you can, if you put the coordinates into a class, you can use operator overloading in .NET, but you can't use operator overloading unless you've actually got a class to stick it on. But you can implement extension methods. So I can have a public static class extensions, and in this thing I can have a, so I can't overload the operator, but I can do this int plus, and I can have in here this int left hand side and int right hand side, and this is going to return item 1 plus right hand side dot item 1 left hand side dot item 2 plus right hand side dot item 2. And if we don't want to call them item 1 and item 2, we call them int x and int y, because we can use name tuple deconstruction, int y, and then that becomes left hand side dot yeah dot yeah dot yeah and yeah. And then this thing here, we'll say we're going to return int x, int y, so we got a plus on that, and then we repeat exactly the same syntax. What am I missing here? I just haven't closed the extension class. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so there's that, and there's that, and then this can be minus, and doom and doom. So we got record like a data class. Yeah, so there's a thing in .NET called a record, which I'm going to confess I've not really used for very much yet. I know that they exist, but I haven't yet. There's this thing I always find with new concepts in programming languages where like for a feature to be compelling, someone's got to say, you know that thing you hate? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, do it this way. And you're like, okay, that's much nicer. And then it instantly clicks. And the records in .NET, I think is like an immutable struct or something. But for me, they don't solve a problem that's ever really bothered me. And maybe that means I just don't care about that problem enough, or maybe it means they don't really solve a real problem. Okay, so we got a plus and we got a minus, and so what I want to do now is we need to yeah, we could write a point class. I just don't want to. The reason I don't want to is I might need to translate this into Rockstar later, and if I translate it into Rockstar and we've used custom classes, I'm going to need to untangle them afterwards. And so we've got that is plus, and what do we need? We need the delta. So the delta here is going to be public static int x int y delta, this int x int y left hand side and int x int y right hand side is gonna be a so this is going to return that, but it's going to return the absolute left hand side of that, and then the absolute that. And okay, so there's, why is that complaining? Because that shouldn't be there. All right, so we got that, we got that, we got that. So now we say So we got a list of int antenna. Let's assume first of all we've got exactly 2, because that's what we have in our test thing at the moment. And so we've got var left hand side equals antennae dot actually antennae 0, var right hand side equals antennae 1. Yep, and then we've got var delta equals left hand side dot delta right hand side, and then we got to return left hand side. Hang on. All right. So, weird quirks to think about here. Let me switch to the overhead camera there and kill that light so it stops flickering. And right, so we've got down here somewhere. So we've got 4 points: A, B, C, D. Now, what we need to figure out is if we've got points A and C, right? Then we need to get that point there, and we need to get that point there. And so that point there is gonna be, so that delta in there is gonna be 2, 2. What I'm thinking about here is the situation where you've got a back diagonal, because when you've got a back diagonal, you need, I think, yeah, delta's wrong. I don't need absolute values. I just need the difference between the two. So let's say that we've got A here is at 1, 1, and C here is at 3, 3, which actually that's a terrible example because it's going to fall outside the grid. Let me flip this over, scribble on the back of it. All right. So let's say we've got a grid kind of like this. We've got a point A there, which is going to be at 3, 3. And we've got a point B here, which is going to be at 6, 4. So the 2 points we need to get out of that are, let me just blow that up a little bit and swing that across a little. There we go. And so the 3, 3 and 6, 4 means that the points we need, so we need a point which is at 3 plus 6 minus 3, and 3 plus 4 minus 3, which is going to give us that one there. And we are going to need the point which is at, no, that's going to be at 6 plus 6 minus 3, and 4 plus 4 minus 3, which is bx plus bx minus ax, and that one there is by plus by minus ay. All right, and then the other one is gonna be point minus is step 1, plus is step 2. I'm just checking that because you have a scenario where the 2 points are kind of not, what we call a back diagonal. What I call a back diagonal. You folks know what a back diagonal is? It's where 1 point's here and 1 point's here. So the second point has a greater row and a smaller column than the other one. You know what? I think that we just crunch it. Yeah, so back diagonal is like a forward slash direction, and a forward diagonal is like a back slash direction. And the reason why the names are the wrong way around is that in computer graphics, the origin is always the top left, and then that is increasing x, and that is increasing y. And a forward diagonal is one where both coordinates are increasing as you travel along the line. And a backwards diagonal is one where one of the coordinates is decreasing while the other one is increasing. So yeah, All right, let's try this. Let's try. Ooh, ping! One of my keys. Look at that. Key fell off. Oh, nice. It's all right. It'll go back. There we go. Right. So my hunch says. I don't know if that's widespread terminology. I'm pretty sure that it came up when I was doing computer graphics at university about 20 years ago. So I want to yield return left-hand side minus left-hand side minus right-hand side, and yield return right-hand side dot plus right-hand side dot minus left-hand side. Wow, I managed to make 2 spelling mistakes in a 5-letter word. Winning! Alright, I'm just going to see what this does, because... Yeah, that's completely not right, is it? It shouldn't be 3, 4, 5, 5... Well, 3, 5, 7... The second one is correct. The first one is not. The first one needs to be the other way around. All right, so I think that's correct. So yield return is .NET has a thing called an enumerator, or IEnumerables, and an IEnumerable is a projection. It's a thing that doesn't get evaluated. So in .NET, you could, for example, write IEnumerable of int, all the integers, and just, so you say int I, while true, yield return I++. So we'll start I at 0, and then and so this thing here is going to give you a projection that, and now if you just say for each var integer in all the integers, console.writeLine integer, if you do that, you're just going to get an infinite loop because it's just going to spin forever. But the point is that enumerators allow you to call a method which is potentially infinite, but only call, so we could write like all the integers dot skip 5 dot where I goes to I modulo 3 equals 0 dot take 8, and then we can console.writeLine integer, and if we run that, so yeah, what that's going to do is it allows us to apply filters across a projection that does not get evaluated. So what this thing here is going to do is it's going to say, right, when the time comes, I'm going to call that function, but I want to skip the first 5 results. So this is going to yield 5 times, and they get discarded. And then it says, right, now I want to apply a filter across the projection. So when each value comes back, I only include it if I modulo 3 is equal to 0, and then I want to take the first 8 values of that filtered projection. And so that chunk of code in there is going to get called enough times to satisfy this set of predicates. And it's a really, really powerful technique for like applying database filtering. Like, get me X number of records where they match this certain criteria and this criteria and this criteria. Oh yeah, but I only want the first 10 because I only want to put those on here. So it works similar if you've ever worked with generators in JavaScript. It's basically a function that can contain a loop, but the loop only gets cranked when the calling context asks for the next value from the... I kind of think of it like cranking a handle on a pump or something. I don't know if that makes sense to other people. But yeah, that's what IEnumerable does. So this is a way of having a function that can return an arbitrary number of things and keep that code. Why? All right. There's a little winky face in there that's making me slightly uncomfortable that somebody may have looked at part 2 already. But, all right, we'll keep that code. So, find antinodes.list. So this is going to all right, that worked, right? Let's put some viz in. Let's put a little bit of visualization here. So what I want to do is so that's going to pull out the antenna. That's going to grab that. So let's kill that. This is just while we're figuring out the shape of the algorithm, right? For each var antenna, and it's an antinode, isn't it? For each one of those in that grid antinode dot. They're not X and Y, they're row and column. That would have bitten hard. Right, so let's find a dot X and replace that with dot row, and a dot Y with dot col is that. All right, that's cool. Yeah, check if you got 1, 3, or 3, 1, assuming X is left to right. It's not. It's rows and then columns, because that's the way we read the data in as lines, and then we split the lines into cells. So grid antinode dot row, so that's going to be row, and int col is going to find that. So we're going to say here that grid antinode dot row antinode dot col equals, and let's just say it's was it a hash they used in the example? Yeah, that'll do. So there's that and there's that, and then let's do for grab that thing there. Console.write grid row col and console.write line, and actually let's var sb equals new string builder, because it's quicker than console.writing every time. sb.append that, sb.append line, and then console.write line sb. Boom, done. Right, let's see what we can see. That needs system.text. There we go. Pull that in. .NET run that. Should print a grid. There we go. And that looks to me like it has drawn the antinodes at the correct positions. So this is our first little very simple knotty example, and we got a 1 there and a 1 there. So there's the diagonal on that one, which is, yeah, pretty good. What do? Okay, so let's throw in a third cell. So that adds 1 at that point there, right? So that's input 1. Let's save that as input 2.txt. And so it's between the two of them and 1 offset from the right edge. So that one's there, right? So this is input 2. That one's there, that one's there. All right, so now if I pull in input 2.txt, what I need now is the thing which is gonna take a set of 3 antennae and extract each subset pair from the result. So this thing in here, yeah, so I always, for this kind of stuff, I'm always, if the data structure that I'm reading is something where, like, you're reading a text file in lines and then each line has columns, I always use row column, and row goes first, like the way coordinates do in Excel. In Excel, the rows are I can't remember how it works. Let's look at Excel. Ta-da! Hello, welcome to the stream. Today we're looking at Excel. No, Excel's the other way around. Excel, the columns go first, then the rows. Ah, the hell with it. I don't care. Yeah, rows and columns is to me more intuitive than X and Y for this kind of problem. Right, so that can actually just chunk into there, and that's cool, and that's cool, and then, all right, so there we go. So now we need this thing here to return. So let's put a method on here, IEnumerable of int row and int column, and that's gonna grab one of those. And so this is gonna extract pairs, and this is gonna, what's this gonna do? This is gonna return this. Okay, so this is gonna return int row, int column, first, second, left hand, right hand, item 1, item 2. What do you call it? The two things in a pair relationship. A and B, I guess, until I think of a better name for them. So what this is going to need to do now is to get, if I got 4 things on a list, I want 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4, bang, done. So how do we very quickly pull all of that out of a, I guess we have the, yeah, for each var first in list. And now I'm just going to call list because it's easier. What does your current code do with 3 points before you add anything? So the current code, when it finds the antinodes, it explicitly only looks at the first 2 elements in the list of antennae. So it'll ignore the third and any subsequent ones. It only looks at 2. So this is the thing that I need to do, is I need to find a thing that instead of it always returning only one pair, which is 0 and 1, it'll return 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Ooh, hang on. I could, yeah. Can I do this more easily with... There must be a very, very trivial way of just returning all the pairs of numbers up to a certain combination. Yeah. All right, let's do that instead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to return int A and B is going to extract a pair, and it's just going to take an int count. So for var 0 is less than count, for var A equals 0, A is less than count, A++ for var B equals A plus 1, B is less than count, B++, yield return AB. I think. Yep. Extract pairs declared but never used. So let's just do a quick for each var pair and extract pair 5 console.writeLine pair. Boom, run that, see what we get. What do we get? We get an unhandled exception. Index was outside the bounds of the array. What? Line 19. Ah. Alright. Not 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. Yes, boom, done. All right, we got all the pairs. Nice, cool. So now we've got for each our R, C, in extract pair from n10a dot count. But LHS equals n 10a r, and those aren't row and column, are they? Those are just like L and R. And then we yield return the pair of antinodes denoted by that. So that comes out, and that extract pair function could probably be called wow, that's the first time. That must be Copilot making good suggestions, none of which I like, but hey, you can't blame a bot for trying, right? Okay, so that's that, and it's now blowing up because some of those antinodes are bigger than the grid. So if antinode.row is less than 0, or antinode.col is less than 0, or antinode.row is greater than grid.length, greater than or equal to grid.length, or antinode.col is greater than or equal to grid0.length. Continue. So that should stop the array out of bounds, and run it again. And all right, so that appears to have done the right thing. So we should have 4 of them on there. Antinodes can occur at locations that contain antennas. Okay, so that one, yeah, okay. All right. So the example they gave us, there are 14 unique locations in the example.txt. So let's crunch in that whole chunk there. So this is our example.txt. Drop that one into there. Those should actually be called example1.txt and example2.txt because they are not my input, they are examples. All right, so program.cs read on example.txt. Let's run that, see what do we get. And we get that, and compare that to what we got here is 1, 2. Yep, we got one there. We've got one. Yep. And that one's the overlapped point there. Yeah, okay, that's looking pretty good. So what do we need? We need the count. We just want the number of antinodes in that list. And so part 1 equals 0. Some of these could be at the same place, so we don't want to just increment it blindly, do we? We actually want to count the number of... hello, 5-4. Sunday is going marvelously. The house is no longer in danger of blowing away. Accidental South London reenactments of the movie Twister will not be taking place, despite the opportunity to celebrate one of Van Halen's most criminally underrated soundtrack contributions. And actually, it's been very blustery, but it hasn't actually damaged anything that I know or own or care about. So yeah, very windy, very wet, but mostly just unpleasant rather than actually dangerous. I want to spin up another grid, I think, because... Am I ever thinking this, like, is this that point where we just have to go part 1 equals grid dot hello Scally Games Dev. Yes, streaming. Thank you. I stream Advent of Code. I used to stream yes. So I have set int antinodes equals new one of those. Antinodes dot add antinode row, antinode column, so that if we have duplicates, they're not going to cause unpleasantness. I haven't got to part 2 yet. I haven't even looked at part 2 yet. I don't know what part 2 even does yet. So Scally, the way it normally works is first I solve it in C# to get a sense of the algorithm and get the stars, because you got to get the stars. And then if that was kind of nice, and if it looks like the solution lends itself to a Rockstar implementation, then we'll do one of those as well, just to keep it, keep it creative. Console.writeLine part 1 and antinodes dot count. My brain still wants to call them antinodes because it rhymes with antipodes. Part 1, 14. Cool. Right, so that's my viz, so that we take the visualization out. That's that, boom, drop that in there, and part 1 is 14, so let's get my puzzle input. Wahey! And save that as the projects, GitHub, Dylan Beatty, Advent of Code 2024, day 8, input.txt, over here, input.txt. What are we thinking, folks? Do we feel lucky? Well, 311. That I guess. Maybe. That seems a little low based on absolutely nothing other than continue to part 2. Da 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 dum da da. All right. If you took the effects of resonant harmonics into your calculations. Watching a video to ask if you took the effect. Whoops! After updating your model, it turns out that an antinode occurs at any grid position exactly in line with at least 2 antennas of the same frequency, regardless of distance. This means that some of the new antinodes will occur at the position of each antenna unless the antenna is the only one of its frequency. That's bollocks. That description does not match that diagram. So I can see there we got one of those and one of those, which creates a one of those, which creates a one of those, which creates a one of those, and that one creates a that one, creates a that one, creates a that one, which is fine. So I'm guessing that this is just a... Yeah, trust the diagrams, not the words. I think they put more effort into the diagrams than the words. All right. So this then means that find antinodes, we can stick an overload on this that we just need to give us. So this will keep going until any of the coordinates involved is outside the grid, right? So let's throw a... Oh. So we got the left-hand side, we got the right-hand side, and yeah, we don't need the infinite generator. So do the antenna themselves count as antinodes? Okay. So total number of antinodes in the above example is now 9. So yeah, all right. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so if there are... Yes, antennas are antinodes. Yes, they are. So what we've got is... so yield return... left-hand side... yield return right-hand side. And then what we're going to do is we are going to say while grid dot contains left-hand side equals left-hand side. So that right-hand side minus left-hand side is always going to be the delta. All right, so while grid dot contains that, yep, so left, so I just need to plug in the grid dot contains method here, don't I? Which I don't have yet. Public static bool contains this. I think I wrote this yesterday, or maybe the day before. Yes. There we go. Think that'll probably swing it. You can't have operator overloading with local functions in top level what's names in C sharp. So I'm going to call this one on antinodes part 2, and that's going to be find antinodes part 1. And then that's going to be find antinodes on part 1. And that can keep the checking, and that needs to be part 1, and we'll spin up a hash set for part 2. And I don't like this. I don't like the fact that I'm bounce checking in there. I kind of feel like I should be passing the grid into here as well. Actually, you know what? Let's make that an extension method on grid. No, let's not. Let's not, because we might need to work with it later. But let's put in that right. Drop that in there. LHS equals LHS minus delta. RHS equals RHS dot plus delta. And then if grid dot contains left hand side, yield return left hand side. So only yield the things which are actually in the grid. If that contains right hand side, yield return the right hand side. And now I just need to pass the grid into this, which means that that needs to be list grid. The grid is a grid of chars, of course it is. right. Those can come out. That can come out. And I can do that because I can deconstruct the tuple in line. And there's part 1, there's part 2. Any reason not to be in the software and game development category and adding the advent of code tech? Yes, I don't know how Twitch works because I'm 46 years old and I find Twitch utterly baffling because, yeah. I should be in the software and game development category, but once in a while it switches back to being something different, and I don't know why it does that. Probably because I'm using Restream to simultaneously stream on Twitch and on YouTube, and I realize 46 is very young, but basically as far as a platform like Twitch is concerned, I am necrotic. Like, I am geriatric and I am old, and it's a miracle I'm still alive. So, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes people ask me on Twitch, why do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm here to write code and chat. And if I'm doing it wrong, then I probably need like a sort of a younger person to explain to me, like teaching a grandmother how to program the VCR. Do you know what a VCR is? Do you remember? Like, yeah. Right, let's run this, see what we get. Hell, YOLO. Boom, let's do it. See what happens. 311, both cases. Excellent. Great success. That, I think, is not the correct... 1115. This is always the part where you're like, shall I check it? Boom, let's see. Yes, that's the right answer. Sweet. Look at that. That's beautiful. Two stars with only the most rudimentary understanding of Stream. I remember this screen. This is the one where I have to click the weird picture of a pencil. Edit stream info. There we go. That can jeff off. I know why that's there. Software and game development. Yes. Audience. Yes. Tags. Advent of code 2024. Advent of code. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. All right, yes. I bet you that has disappeared again when I come back tomorrow. Stream info updated successfully. There you go. Yeah, I use Restream, and Restream is probably screwing everything up. Oh, look, it's Baba the Elephant again. Anyway, right, we're done. We did it. We got both parts. We got both gold stars. Yay! Where did my... Right. Yes. Git would be good, wouldn't it? Let's do a... Right. Now the fun begins. So... First, let's clean this up. Turn this into something that is... Hey, if a non-seer self-taught able to solve day 8, how good is he? Yeah, pretty good. I mean, programming is not a sort of linear scale. People are good at stuff in different directions. And I would also, despite having an actual degree in computer science, I would be lying if I said that anything in my degree was useful today. Yeah, a lot of it is just figuring out how to take a big problem and break it down into little bits and keep going at it. But generally, I say anyone could solve any day of Advent of code. It's awesome. These problems are not trivial. They all require a certain amount of creativity and lateral thinking, or logical thinking, like, being able to figure it out step by step. Okay, so I didn't start on GW Basic. I've done GW Basic. I started on Amstrad Basic, and then I graduated from that to Amstrad Logo, and I spent a couple of years playing with Basic and Logo. And then I did Locomotive Basic on the Amstrad PCW 1512, which was a word processor that ran CP/M. Like you could choose to boot it into an operating system or boot it into LocoScript, which was a dedicated word processing thing. And then MS DOS, I started. Yeah, it would have been GW Basic, or Q Basic, whichever the one that came with DOS, with the Gorillas program was. All right. I do love me some computer history. Mainly because you realize that a lot of the things people think is a really big deal, we actually figured out about 50 years ago, and then everyone forgot about it because they thought it must be rubbish because it was old. Okay. Thank you, Linux Liaison. Apparently my voice is so soothing. Hello and welcome to the stream. Today we're going to solve Advent of Code Day 8 in Rockstar, the world's most poetic programming language. If you don't like numbers... Okay, right. Let's do this in Rockstar. What the hell, why not? We may not get all the way. We got the stars. But let's see what we can do with it. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. And so our theme for today is going to be antennae. And it's going to be like radio broadcasts and that kind of thing. What is your position in the clean code versus performance debate? I think there are certain people who enjoy debating. And yeah. No, I'm not getting drawn on that one. Not going to go there. I think clean code is overrated. I think it is incredibly prescriptive, and it's not that there's anything wrong with it. The biggest problem I see has nothing to do with the books or the people who wrote them. The biggest problem is the people who read them. And the people who think that because one book says one thing, that thing is now gospel. And this applies to programming textbooks and self-help textbooks and religious books and diet books and how to look after your dog books and everything books. Like, you got to read a whole bunch of books, and then you got to synthesize all the information from all the books, and you got to look at you and your world and the problems you're trying to solve and the people and the things that you care about and figure what you're going to do. And if the best justification that you've got for behaving a certain way is that something in a book told you that was the right answer, you are probably an idiot, even though you can read. That is what I think about the whole clean code versus performance debate. Let's write some Rockstar. So, bang, new file, and we're gonna call this antennae.rock. And so first we need to read our input and put that into a data structure. And so what we're going to do is we are going to listen to line. So we're going to do this the classic way we do Rockstar is we start up very, very minimalist and kind of build it up, get the algorithm work, and then you go through and you replace the names and the structures and juggle things around to be a little bit more poetic. While line ain't silent. Yeah, I mean, we got a whole video, Kill the Radio Star, we've got Rush, we got The Spirit of Radio, we've got, you know, all the stuff to play with here. So while line ain't silent, we are going to, what are we going to do? Each line is, we're going to shatter line into cells. Is that just gonna, yeah, that should do the right thing. Rock grid with cells. Listen to line. And so that should give us a loop, and then we want to debug grid. Debug grid, let's do that. Okay, so let me bring up a terminal here. New terminal, drop that in there. And CMD, because PowerShell doesn't let you redirect standard in, because I don't know, it just doesn't. Apparently it's not a thing it likes to do. But we can go rockstar antenna.rock, and let's read from example1.txt. Cool, so we've got dot 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 dot. Yeah. It might be time to go down a little, just a little rabbit hole, just a little one, and hack the way Rockstar debugs two-dimensional arrays. What do you think, folks? You up for a little popping the hood and seeing if we can make it do stuff that it didn't do this morning? Because that's the best part about doing advent of code in your own programming language, is every time you're like, I wish the language did that, you can do that. And it's debug, so it's not going to break anything. Yeah, Rockstar is totally a language. So folks who are new to the stream and not familiar with where all this nonsense comes from, this is Rockstar. Rockstar is at codewithrockstar.com, and it is a programming language that is designed to let you write programs that look like rock and metal songs. So this is the idiomatic implementation, and that's the source code, and when we rock that code, it prints the string fizzbuzz, because obviously it does. And if we hit the parse tree on that, this will show you how the thing actually works. So we've got My Dreams Hold Diamond Nightmares there. That's called a poetic literal. And it's initializing my dreams. It's taking the number, so it's taking, that's a 7-letter word, that's a 10-letter word. So it's taking 70, and it's putting 70, turning that into an ASCII character and sticking it into my dreams. So 5.4, I'm not going to do that for advent of code, but I have thought about basically building special cases in Rockstar for all the problems on code.golf. So Rockstar's on code golf. They plugged it in a little while ago. And, you know, things like 12 Days of Christmas. And I was thinking it would be kind of funny to... is Rockstar on this list? Yes, it is. Kind of funny to put a thing in there that if your program is just like the Christmas tree emoji, then it does the 12 Days of Christmas. And so... And, you know, it would be either very funny or very cruel, and potentially both. Because Rockstar is so absolutely not the kind of language you are supposed to use to do code golf. And yeah, Mr. Alice Cooper would have a great deal to say. Alice Cooper is absolutely adamant that the reason he quit heroin is like drug addiction, is he found something that is more expensive and addictive than heroin, and that was golf. And he got addicted to golfing, and that's what got him off drugs. Yeah, and Alice is the dude, so, you know. 99 bottles of beer is another good one in here. And, you know, that one could just be like a bottle of beer. And so, anyway, right, let's take a look. What do we got here? We've got that, and we got that, and so this is Rockstar. Welcome to the jungle, baby. We've got parsing expression grammars. So what I'm looking for is debug, and I want to find the debug. Come on, wakey. I just installed .NET 9 this morning. It's the first time I've cranked up full Visual Studio since I put .NET 9 on here. Yeah, weirdness might happen. Come on. I'd like my programs now, please. Resharper has been disabled. Interesting. I mean, we can do this without Resharper. I just need to remember where everything is, because my muscle memory looks for the Resharper shortcuts on everything all the time. Let's have a look if there's an update available in the JetBrains toolbox. What do you mean, trial? Okay, we're going to close and reopen Visual Studio. So Rider is free, and I'm a Microsoft MVP, and JetBrains has a yeah, all right. JetBrains Resharper did not load correctly. Restarting could solve this issue. Continue, yes. Continue to show the error message, yes. I would like to think that Rockstar is commercial use, but Rockstar has... if I was honest about billing my own hours to the Rockstar project, Rockstar would be heavily in debt. Right. We're going to take 2 minutes, folks. I'm going to see if I can figure out why Resharper has decided that today is not a day it is going to cooperate with anything. Let me bring that up. And the reason why I stick with Visual Studio is I use a continuous test runner called ncrunch, which is now available on Rider on Windows. Let's try... There's a screen over there. That's what I'm looking at. I got my system console down there in the bottom corner where you folks can't see it. I'm just going to uninstall, reinstall Resharper, see if we can get that up and running. Which should only take about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. And software is fun. While that's doing that, multitasking. All right, debug the grid. So we got the grid. The grid is in. That's nice. We've read the grid. That looks pretty good, and it's broken at that. And we got this array of cells. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say row equals 0, col equals 0, row 0, while row is less than grid. Col equals 0, while col is less than grid at row. Cell is, let cell be, not cell is. Let cell be grid at row at col. Write cell and print silence, which will print the empty string, but it'll print it with a line break after it. And while row is less than, so actually I think I can do this with a different syntax. Let's try this. For row in grid, for cell in row, write cell and print silence and bang, done, do that. Cool, all right, there. So debug grid, we don't need debug grid. We'll come back to that once the Resharper stuff has kind of figured itself out. So that's cool. All right, let me hit reinstall on that. Resharper tools, install. There we go, that's running. And so there's that one. For cell and row, right cell. All right, so that's the grid there. So now we got to do the thing. So let's take a look at how we did that in .NET. So we had this whole, that reads that. That's basically duplicated what we got in there already. So we need to find each antenna, right? So let me just check something else I think we can do here is we can, for row and for line and row in grid, for cell and col in row, write cell with space with, actually let's do that, with row with dim, with col with dim. Boom! That did not like that. Can't use for loops on something that is not an array. That needs to be line, doesn't it? There is some lag in framing on the stream. Nothing major. Good. If it is something major, let me know, and I will do something major about it. I mean, we could just do a quick fast.com. Let me check, but I have a feeling that it is. Yeah. I don't think it's me. I think it's OBS being confused. Probably because it's trying to reinstall ReSharper at the same time as streaming on the internet. It'll sort itself out in a second, and if it doesn't, I got various things I can hit with various other things. All right, so we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, okay, so cool. So we got the row, we got the column. We've got that. So for line and row in grid, for cell and col in line, looks like it's you, Aneroid X. The webcam was frame droppy, but it's sort of woken up. Yeah, we got a. Ooh, that's interesting. I'm gonna stop the camera and then start the camera and see if that wakes anything up. Let's just switch back. Is that? Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, let's switch back to the other one. There we go. Oh, yeah. You know that we used to, like, if you wanted to do this in olden times, you had to have a television studio full of highly qualified professionals with good union jobs that included dental care and a pension plan. And now you want to do this, it's you by yourself with a camera and a computer and the internet, and you got to write your own material, you got to do your own hair, do your own makeup, you know, scripts, production, promotion, you got to do your own press. What a time to be alive, hey? All right, so that's cool. So we got that, and so now what I want to do is if cell ain't that, then we add that to our, let me do a little side by side. So this is the fun part now, is antennae needs to be a dictionary of char and then list of int and int. So we are going to, can I just do rock antennae at cell? Yes, we're porting the solution, so the same algorithm that I just did in C#, I'm moving that across to Rockstar, seeing if we can get that to work. So what I want to see is if I rock something at something with something, does that give me what I expect? And the easiest way to check that is we got to code with rockstar.com, got to try it, and rock list at 4. So let's create a list here. So rock coordinates with 1, 2, 3, 4. Rock list at 4 with coordinates. Debug list. Okay, interesting. That did not do what I wanted it to do. Debug coordinates. Okay, so that is array rock. So that. Let list at 4b coordinates. Will that do me? Yeah. Okay. So that kind of gives me what I want. And if I put that in as a string, let list at b coordinates. So this will let me build an associative array. let list at bb coordinates, so I can build up a hash here of key value, except the data structure that I need, because what I had in .NET here is a dictionary of char keyed on list of int and int. So it's the list of int and int that is going to be gnarly, because what I need to do is to basically, if I got a coordinate, so rock the pair, well, let's call that pair, let point will do, point is a good thing. Rock point with 1, 2, that gives me that. And then let list be rock point with 1, 2. So we need a data set to hold all of the antennae. So points is gonna be that. So rock points with point is gonna do that. Debug points. Let me take those out. All right, so that takes that. Then if I rock, yeah, I used double length lists for day 6. I've done something very similar with it because it's all we really got. In the absence of something like a list of lists, you got, yeah, arrays of arrays. So rock point with 1, 2. Then I need to say let point be 3, rock point with 4, rock points with point debug point. Okay, so that'll put 1, 2, 3, 4 into the list. Then if I say let thing, naming is hard, be results at A, debug thing is going to be mysterious, yeah, that's fine. So we've got a rock results. So there's that. So let thing be results at A. If thing is mysterious rock thing, debug thing. Thing is an array. All right. So that means that we can rock. The structure I need to build is one that looks like this. So we've got A is going to be a array containing 1, 2, and 3, 4. That. So nested all the way down. And then like B is going to be a 3, 4, and 5, 6. So it's an array of, it's an associative array where each key is a character and each value is an array of 2-character arrays. And I'm just figuring out how the heck you build it. Yeah. Use separate associates. You got an array of like rows and array of. Nah, I want to get this one working because I'm like that. Because why not? Let me see if Visual Studio is running now that ReSharp has reinstalled itself. Whee! There you go. See, purple, all purple all the time. Hey, Ducky Luke. You already solved this in Rockstar today, am I right? Okay, that's a lot nicer. Whee! I mean, other than ReSharper being completely missing, is it there? What's new in ReSharper? All right, that's promising. Okay, so what do I need to do is so the syntax, I think there might be a bug here, because what I should be able to do is something basically akin to, let me open a new code with rockstar.com, try it. I should be able to do something like rock result at a debug result. And what that should do is it should result at A here should be a reference to an element in an associative array, and that should initialize that element in the associative array to be a, because if I do this, if I just like rock foo and then I debug foo, foo is now an empty array, right? So I should be able to rock something at something, and it should put an empty array in that associative array at that key. So I should be able to rock something at something with 1 and then debug result, but that doesn't work. And it probably should, and it's annoying me that it doesn't. And let's see if we can figure out why. Okay, that's fine. There we go. All right, we're up. We're good. We're good. So why is that not working? So this is how Rockstar works. There's a parser, and if we take a look in that, now that parses rock result at A with 1. If I grab that and hit the parse button on here, yeah, that's interesting. All right, so I think the syntax here is incorrect, because what it's doing is it's enlisting variable and lookup, and that's not right, because, okay, so let's say foo is 1, bar is 2, rock foo bar debug bar is gonna, so bar is number 2, and foo is now array 1, 2, because that there is, okay. So the problem is that if you say rock foo at 1 with bar, that, the parse tree for that thinks that at here is a variable you want to push into foo, because of a weird historical I wanted rock you like a hurricane to be a valid line of code, and so I broke some of the language syntax just to make that thing work, which, yeah, probably shouldn't have done. Right, let's take a look. Let's bring up the Rockstar code here. And so let's take a look in the grammar. And if we go into rockstar.peg, so this is the expression grammar that drives the whole thing. And what I want to do here is I want to find the rock expression. So this is the rule called push. One of my slight frustrations with the tooling here is that I don't have anything in here that will let me like find symbols within the grammar definition. So there's a lot of manually bouncing around, kind of scrolling through things. So what do we got? We've got that's all the keywords. No. Okay, so that's a roll list, that's a delist, that's a pop list, that's a return, that's a function, and I'm looking for, the rule is called enlist. It's the thing that turns things into lists. So enlistment is a statement, and that's the thing that we need there. So V is variable or error with that. But I think we need to add syntax to this that will allow you to, let me just check what variable or error does there. So variable or error is the rule that says this is not a variable, you're going to blow up here. Yeah, okay. And a variable is that. All right, so let me just check the syntax here. What I'm looking for is assignment. Okay, so assignable equals something. Put something into assignable. So assignable then is going to be assignable. Boom. All right, so that's what we're missing there, is the ability to put indexes into an enlist statement. So let's see if we can wire that up. So first of all, I'm going to plug in a test case for it. And the test cases for this are based on, so there's Rockstar test. There's the examples, programs, examples. So all of the documentation, all the little snippets that are on the Code with Rockstar website are actually valid examples with input and output things in them. And so what I want to do on here is in arrays of arrays.rock. Yep, that's okay. And rock and roll is there. So I want to put a thing in here that will rock my array at 1, print my array, and this should then print null and an empty array is what I think that should print. Now let me switch on ncrunch, which is over here. It's my continuous test runner. It's probably my favorite piece of software ever invented in the world. And there's the window for it. So let me bring that across. I'm going to dock that in here. Cool. All right. So that test, I've already got a failing test because I've just introduced a new scenario here. And it's saying, hey, that was supposed to output this thing and it didn't. Now let me just fix a thing that I broke yesterday. Because I was fooling around late at night with the syntax. And that shouldn't be a thing you should do because it breaks stuff. So get cracking. There we go. That's Rockstar. What did I change yesterday? I shouldn't have changed anything. Discard that. That's fine. Yeah, that's no change on that line. All right, let's see if that has fixed. Okay, good. So now we're down to one broken program here. And if I bring that out a little further so you can see it, it's saying that, yeah, that's not terribly legible, but it's not doing the right thing. Expected that was that. So it's dumping out rockstar.engine.values.mysterious instead of an array containing a nested array. Now let me just check that is what the debug output should look like. So if we have an array, so rock array looks like that, debug array is going to be a thing. Yep, that's that. Array2 at 1, let array2 at 1 be array. Cool, okay. So that's what we want. That's the syntax we're going for. And we should be able to do that by just saying rock array2 at 1 should initialize the second element of that array to be an empty array, because array at 1 is the target, and if you rock anything, it initializes it as an empty array. So that's the syntax we want to be able to get working here. So in the peg grammar here, we've got the enlist statement. So that one, enlistment is a, there we go. So what I want to do is I'm going to add a expression or error, push something into something. Variable or error here is could just make that assignable. I wonder if that'll work. Rockstar uses zero-based arrays. Yes, it does. Why does it feel wrong? You think we should count a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4? All right. Okay. I think it's going to work. Count 1, 2, 3, 4 and go up to 11, right? So enlistment goes into assignable or error, and at push assignable or error, and that is push assignable or error. And yep. Rebuild. See how much stuff that broke. So what we've done now is to modify the language grammar so that an enlistment, which is basically rock, turns things into lists, so it's called enlistment. That will now take... Cool, okay. So that last line there, it does actually rock the thing now, which is good. So now what I got to do is let's go and look at the syntax for the enlist operator itself. So what do we got here is we've got a variable, and enlist here takes a variable, but it disregards whether that variable has an index on it. Okay, so that's a statement. Enlist variable with expressions, this dot expressions dot add range. Okay, so that's cool. So this constructs the thing. So then what we need to find is the bit in the interpreter itself, which is here. So variable is that, values that. So you see the little red lights here? Those are the red lights that mean these are the lines of code that your failing test is currently hitting. So everything else on here is green apart from we've got a failing test, and the red lines are covered by that failing test. So we've got on enlist variable equals qualified pronoun. Yep, that's fine. So that'll turn it, he, she, you into whatever you're currently looking at. Look up the value. If the value is a string, okay, so I think lookup value here needs to be lookup, so that if the thing is okay, actually, hey, maybe yep, right, back that up. Rockstar environment, find the enlist method that's in here, and enlist takes that, and I wonder if I can just make that a lookup based on variable, because then variable contains the index, so that's going to pull the index out the other side, and okay, so that's not only has the thing that's broken still broken, but now we got two other things that are broken as well. And why? What is actually broken there? So hello world.rock is broken. And Ah. Hmm. All right. Rockstar doesn't use 0 based arrays. It should be 11 based arrays. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, one Lorax. So this is the Rockstar engine, which is written in C Sharp. And I'm just trying to figure out how to add a particular, had support for a very specific syntax for, so set local here is gonna take the e dot variable, and that's blowing up because it wants that to have run through qualified pronoun first. So, and also that maybe doesn't need to be set local every time. Set variable. I think I need a set variable instead of a set local on that. Yep. Right, so set variable takes the variable, the value, and the scope. And scope defaults to global. And yeah, pronouns all the way, baby. Because, I mean, they're useful. Partly because they deflect the chuds, but partly because they mean you can write code like if X is true, print it. And who doesn't want to write code like that? Okay, so I think the thing in list.cs down here, when we actually evaluate the enlistment in here, no, not in that, it's inside Rockstar engine environment. Enlist is E, so there's that, and I think this one we want to set that on E dot variable, and the value will be the array that we just initiated. Please tell me what to choose, front end or back end. I'm 17 years old. I want to work in FANG, being Facebook, Alphabet, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Okay, I think you should choose, I don't know. So to me, the difference between front end and back end is, do you enjoy making things look visually appealing? If you enjoy making things that look good and are, if you care about color schemes and you like fonts and you've ever had an actual argument with somebody about kerning and typography, then you probably want to work in front end because you get to exercise those skills and create user experiences based on them. If you don't care about fonts and you think that 16 colors is all anybody will ever need, Windows 3.1 was good enough and orange is clearly just for fruit, you should probably work in back end. And also, you don't want to work in FANG. Everyone I know works in any of those companies is miserable. They used to be, maybe 10 years ago, 5-10 years ago, there was those companies had to really, really attract good engineers. But I think those days are over, and now the companies that are working hard to attract the good engineers aren't the FANG ones. They're, regular companies that build stuff that real people use, like retail systems and manufacturing and logistics and tickets and music streaming and all that kind of stuff. Set variable, E variable array, and we'll set scope on that to be scope.local. I think will do what we need on that. Let's run that through, see what happens. And boom. See that? So the others disappeared. So they're good. So that's nice. And what do we got now? ArrayFunctions.rock is the only one that is failing. So let's take a look at what ArrayFunctions.rock is doing. And all right. So a lot of these fixtures are from Rockstar version 1. So what I did is I had a whole thing here. I think this is a yes, version 1 fixtures ArrayFunctions.rock. So what we're doing here, this thing is going to introduce a breaking change. And I just need to find out what that breaking change is and see where the... Now these tests were, as you can see, not perfectly optimized for that. So what I've done is I've set up a output. So the funny thing about Rockstar is that Rockstar was invented in a bar, but most of the actual Rockstar coding that I've done in bars has not been working on Rockstar. It's been working on rock test actual. Not working in Rockstar, it's been working on Rockstar, which is built in .NET now. So let's do a folder compare, and I'm going to open C rock test, which should exist. What do you mean does not exist? Could not find a path of the path C rock test actual. Come on, yeah you can. That'll be C drive because I was doing stuff on my laptop. Right, boom, run that test again. Run selected test. That. Right, rerun that. That should now run, and it should give me output in here. The rock test and the rock test, and crunch both of those down to there, and we'll have the expectation on the left hand side and the actual on the right hand side. Set as base folder. Okay, and now I can see side by side. All right, cool. That's it. We just got one thing there. A function that does nothing, null, null. So whatever the ArrayFunctions.rock. Rock a list with nothing, shout a list. So this is the old syntax had a rock file and a rock out file side by side, and it would be occasionally difficult to work out what it was doing. Shout here, damn, save that and run that again, and that should give me just enough of a trace to see which one is which. So it's immediately after the here. And do that again. As you can tell, this is a very, very scientific process, but it's trying to maintain backward compatibility with something that was not intended. So let me be the void taking nothing. Shout a list. All right, so it's definitely that line there. Let me be the void taking nothing, shout a list. So where is a list coming from there? So let's... So the void taking nothing, give back nothing should be right. So let's grab that lot, and what I'm going to do is to spin up a CD Rockstar and build Rockstar WASM engine. So that's going to do the local build. Oh look, I just accidentally upgraded Rockstar to .NET 9. I'm sure everything will be fine. Oh, it does pretty things. I like that. I'm just cranking at the WASM engine so I can put that into the local copy of the web interpreter so I can look at the parse tree for... Actually, I should have a parse test for that, shouldn't I? Right, so what do we got? v1 array functions.rock. If I crank that across over here and put in array functions... All right, so the parser test, there's the parser for it. All right, so the parse is working. And let me pin that. So we got that pinned up there. So the parser is working, and it is executing, but it's giving back the wrong answer. So we've got a assignment there. The void is a function that takes something and returns null, which is fine. And then we've got enlist a list with null, and then that, and then that, and then me is a pronoun that will resolve to a list. So what I'm curious about here is this thing here, let me be the void taking nothing. That should be an assignment. Except it's a declaration, because let in Rockstar introduces variables with function scope. Let will never overwrite a global variable. So why is that now doing... Huh. Try this. Let foo be the void taking nothing. Shout foo. Let's see what that does. Yes, yes. And rerun that test again one more time. Yes, yes. All right. So that assignment, let me be the void taking nothing there. What that's doing is it's doing a declaration. It's calling the void with nothing. That's here. But the target of the declaration is the pronoun me, and the pronoun me should then resolve to whatever the most recently assigned value is. So we got here, Fumi, a list, and here. Let's run that through. Boom, give that a second. Let's run, update that, and maybe it's just that the expectation is wrong. Yeah. So, oh, hang on. Yeah, I got it the wrong way around. Uh, that should, let me back all that stuff out. Yes, yes. So that's expected and that's actual. And expected is expecting null and a thing, but it shouldn't be. Because let me be the void taking nothing should always set whatever a list was to be nothing, because that function gives back nothing. So pass nothing to the void, you get nothing back. Let me be nothing, which means shout a list is nothing, which means that the problem is actually that the v1 fixtures, I think it's just another thing, array functions.rock, array functions.rock out. That should be null. Which means that will now pass. Okay, so that's good. That's now running, which means that that syntax that we were talking about a second ago with this let array at index be something, let's run the WASM interpreter through, see if we can get a fresh build out of that. I should fix these build errors. There aren't many of them, but wow, 4.5 seconds. No way. Okay, that's a .NET 9 thing. That has just got crazy quick. Oh, that's excellent. All right, so now if I spin out, let me split this window across the middle and z into code with rockstar.com and bundle exec Jekyll serve to give us a localhost implementation of the online code editor. There you go. The top window, .NET 8 to .NET 9, just went, yeah, you know what, it's fine. We'll build the whole thing. It's beautiful. The bottom bit is like, oh, Jekyll, oh, this is deprecated. That's deprecated. That doesn't work anymore. This has stopped working soon. Right, try it. So what did we have on here? I wanted rock the array at 2, debug the array. Boom, look at that. So now if you rock an indexed element of something, then it will let you turn that into a... so rock the array at 2 with 5, debug the array. Of course, because that's going to evaluate... Yeah. 2 with 5 is 7. You can't rock the array at 2 with something. But you can rock it like a hurricane. That's fine. Okay, is this going to be a problem? So there's a syntactic. If you say rock the array with 2 and then debug it, it pushes 2 onto the end of the array. If you rock the array at 2, that gives you that then. But if we want to say, I want you to take the second element of the array and I want you to add something to it, we need another syntax there because the enlist syntax in the grammar push the assignable or error. Actually, we can do it with into, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's gonna work. The only problem here is this: the word with is overloaded, and I'm wondering if there's a better way I can do that. Uh, I mean, it doesn't actually need the width. That's the silly thing, is you could do rock the array at 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Why does it not like that? There. Because you can put a list of stuff on the end of the array, so you can say like something, something, something. Is that enough? I mean, there's an argument that using 3, 4, 5 would be syntactically nice, and using is not the same as with in that context. And there's a couple of places where using works in the language syntax. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, we can throw one of those in. That'll work. Swap that out for a using on one of those e-expression list. I think that should, everything should still work. Okay. But if I go and take a look at the array examples we were looking at a second ago, arrays, where was it? Rock and roll, rock my array at 1, and rock your array at 1 using 2, 3, 4. Print your array prints, and this should now print null and 2, 3, 4. See if that works. Excellent. And just to check the docs, so this is localhost, arrays is there, arrays and collections, and somewhere here there should be something that uses rock and roll.rock in. What's failing? I shouldn't have any failing tests on there. Hang on. Ooh, bad. All right, what's the problem? Yes, no, close that. Yes, close that. Refresh that. Differences only. Rock and roll.text. Oh no, that's fine. They just need to be quoted strings. I was right the first time. Stupid language. Okay, they're the same. There we go. The test is passing. There we go. We can rock arrays at indexes, and if we use the using keyword, we can push elements directly into the bits of the arrays that have been rocked at those indexes. So, all right, what do we got? Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm just wondering why this isn't linked into any of the documentation pages anywhere. Okay, so yep. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. All right. I'm just going to switch the camera because I don't know what that's going to load. There we go. No, we're good. It's in the right place. So what was this moment of, what was the last thing I was working on in Obsidian? Was it all right? Can I share that on the stream? Okay. So Rockstar supplies JavaScript style arrays with array elements accessed using the at keyword. Rockstar include basic arrays.rock. Okay, so that's fine. Yep, okay, so I think I want to drop a thing in here to initialize as an empty array. If you rock an element of an array that's a bug. Hang on. That's duplicated there. That should be nested arrays, which is in here somewhere. Do we have nested arrays? Arrays of arrays.rock. All right. So that should be arrays of arrays.rock. Let's let the bundle Jekyll do the rebuild thing. Cool, let's rebuild that. Jump over here, refresh that page. Arrays, you can do. I'm going to move that test case into here. I think it makes more sense. Hello, welcome to the stream. Today you're watching me write documentation, the thing every programmer loves. Because who doesn't love writing documentation? Right, so let's, there's that. So that example was arrays of arrays.rock. So let me dig up the code for arrays of arrays.rock, which is there. And we got rock and roll.rock and there we go. Grab that lot. Chop that out of there. That's all in there. Arrays of arrays.rock. And save that. Rebuild that. Okay. Rockstar include arrays of arrays.rock. That should have rebuilt. Why did it not? Because Ruby. They wrote a song about Ruby. It went Ruby, 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 Ruby. Ah! Right. Docs, arrays, and collections. Yep. Okay. I'm going to stick a heading on that, and then I'm going to call the feature done and work out which Git branch I'm currently on, because I bet it's not the one that I wanted to be on. What level heading is that? That's a level 2. All right. That's weird. There's an anchor. There's an HTML fragment there. Should jump you to the point on the page that has that exact thing in it. And for whatever reason, it's not. But maybe it's just confused. Yeah. 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 That works. Queue operations jumps you to queue operations. Arrays jumps you to arrays. All right, it's working now. Whatever. Okay, cool. Right. Boom. New feature. Woohoo! Like it. What branch am I on? I'm probably on .NET 9. I don't want to be on .NET 9. I want to be on main. So, now pop that stash and drop that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we can keep that. And 9 arrays. There's our new docs for that feature. That's in. There's the new grammar with the using syntax. There's the environment thing. That line 247 I'm actually going to take out. So in Rockstar environment G247. Yep, alright. Stage that. That's, yeah, fair enough. That doesn't matter. That does matter. It's going in the docs. The acid test shouldn't have changed. And the rest of that is all garbage, apart from that one, which is there. And add support for rocking nested arrays. Boom. Where am I? Main is good. All right, push. Sweet. Oh, look, my phone says there's been a new commit to Rockstar. That's nice. Right. Where were we? We were writing day 8 of Advent of Code, weren't we? I remember that. You remember that? Right. So, antennae.rock. And now I should be able to rock antennae at cell. There's a nice Rockstar implementation of today's AOC at Advent of Code. Oh, I'm going to look. Yeah. Oh, yes. Big fan of CCC037. That's nice. Right. So now, for liner and grade for rock antennae at cell with. So we got row and column. So we can now rock point with row col, debug point, rock antennae at cell with point. Yes. And debug antennae. So I think up here, if I rock antennae, that will initialize it in scope. Save that, Rockstar, that, bang, failed to parse program. What? No. What did I break? All right, that's fine. That's not right. I'm not running the latest version of Rockstar, I don't think. I should be. All right. There. Sweet. Okay. So I need to, point needs to be fresh every time. That's better. All right. So for cell and column in align, if cell is rock antennae at point at cell using point and end debug antennae. Let's see what that does. Mysterious. All right. Antennae is now an array with nothing in it. Okay, that's not quite right. Yep. Okay, so we got the string out. Rock antennae at cell using point. That should work. That should totally work. Shouldn't it? So what I'm wondering is that syntax there, rock antennae at cell using point, should, if that array doesn't exist, it should instantiate it, put the value in, and basically just make the whole thing work. Is this running localhost? Yeah, that's fine. All right. So try it on there. So rock array at foo using... so we need to create a nested array here. Well, let's try this first. All right, that's interesting. So that's created an array with a key called foo, and it's got 3 values in it, but none of them is actually valued, the values we want. which makes me think maybe the feature I just pushed doesn't do exactly the right thing. Let's put another test case in there for it. No, that worked. Did that work? All right. All right, 2.04, hard refresh that. 2.05, built that up. All right, so that works now. So which means I should be able to rock array at 1 using 234, debug array, and I should be able to put in a key for that. Okay, and then I rock array at A using 5, debug. Okay, so that pushes it into the same element, but if I say rock point with 1, 2, rock array at A using point. Okay, nested array is in, that works. A is now 1, 2, and 5. So going back to the antenna, rock antenna at cell using point should work. And if I do a Rockstar -v, we're on 2.0.5, so that should work. So if cell ain't that, let point be row, rock point using column, debug antennae. Yep, that's right. Rock antennae at cell using point. End, debug antennae, save that, run that. All right, the web interpreter says it can't run that. Oh, because it doesn't have standard input. Of course it doesn't. Dope. All right, there's that. Boom. All right. Yeah, okay, so grid is good, that's fine. Rock antennae shouldn't need to do anything. Yep. Rock antennae at cell using point. Cell is the string A, but antennae at that point is mysterious. Yes. Ah, such confusion. Right. Line and row and grid for cell and column line. If cell ain't that, let point be row, debug point. All right, so that is pulling out the point. It's pulling out a two element array. And cell is a string. Let antennae at cell be point. Is this just something dumb like I've misspelled antennae? Nope. All right, foo is an empty array. Yeah, that ain't right. So yeah, that works. And that works. And that doesn't. So let's try let point be 1. Let rock point using 2. Let foo at A be point. Debug foo. Alright, that's fine. Rock foo at A using point. That's fine. Let point be 3. Rock point using 4. Rock foo at A using point. That's fine. It's completely bizarre. Five and 6 and rock foo at C using that and debug foo. Yeah. So A is now a list containing 2 pairs. C is now a list containing 1 pair. That is all legit and correct, and it works. For the whole thing then fails if I put it inside a loop. But only if it's inside a for loop. It doesn't do it if it's inside a while loop. Alright, what's wrong with for loops? Welcome to the rabbit hole, friends. Yep. That's not a thing. All right. Who, ha, Crap. Scoping. So the reason why this thing isn't working, we're getting into some gnarly programming language theory today for a thing that started out about elves looking for the chief historian for Santa Claus. Yeah, so the difficulty is that the rock operator here a for loop runs inside an extended environment because the thing that actually creates the extension is going to get cranked every time. So that rock variable that we put in there needs a test case. So this needs a Yeah. So the loop body here runs inside the context of like a closure that captures the environment and extends it with the scope.set variable that iterates over all the elements in the array. And that's the thing which is leading to the weirdness. So let's bake in a thing. How are we doing on time here? You know what? I'm going to play with this for another 17 minutes, and then I'm going to wrap it up because we have got way off piste with today. And it's interesting. It's kind of fun. But I got my stars for today, and now we're going down a rabbit hole of fixing weird bugs in Rockstar. Because, of course, we are. So arrays, what am I looking for here? Is I am looking for a test program that says the keys are A, B, C, D, E. Shatter the keys, debug the keys. Okay, so I got A, B, C, D, E. So now what I want is for key and keys, debug key and keys are A, B, C, D, E, shatter keys, debug keys, for key in keys, debug key and cool. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to say, let's just set up a simulated point is 1, rock point with 2, rock points at key with point and print points. Yeah, okay, good. And that shouldn't happen. That should print. Let's actually just make that a little bit simpler. Right, that's what I think that should do. So there's the test case. So back over into Starship, there is arrays, and let's add a new item in here, and this is gonna be, I don't have a, why does Visual Studio not have a template for Rockstar files? That's what I want to know. Assign array, so modify array inside loop.rock. $39 tests, 6 tests, 1 test. Come on, that should fail. No, no. Come on, that should blow up. Yep. Done. Yeah. All right, why hasn't it picked that up? So ncrunch, in theory, the way the test fixture is baked in here is every time you add a new file to the fixtures, it should kick in and be like, oh, there's a new file, let me run that and see if it works. And the expectation here is the prints statement, which was embedded inside the program code. And for some reason, it's not picking that one up. Why not? Let's do a full solution rebuild. All right. And now hit the reload, rebuild, restart the engine, resynchronize, and rerun all the tests button. And that is only picking up 665 tests, and there should be 666. All right. Come on. And Control T has stopped working. Actually, my entire keyboard has stopped working. All right, no, it's just Visual Studio. Excellent product. It really is. It's very, very good indeed. But sometimes it's like, no typing for you. Not now. We're tired. Enough typing. Go outside. Touch grass. Let's see, has that new thing gone live on codewithrockstar.com? Reload that, try it. That is 2.0.5. Excellent. All right. So the pipeline works even if the program doesn't. Yeah. Shouldn't it be 2.0.6? Why should it be 2.0.6? The thing that triggers the actual deployments. The GitHub Actions for this is really complicated because it needs to build Windows, Mac, and Linux versions Okay, so it hasn't actually run a proper release for 4 days. So build Rockstar 2.0. That one just ran through that, 2.0.6. Yeah, that's in. So let's just check the... you know what? So this is going to bump it to 2.0.7, but then I'm going to need to trigger a build and deploy and a release Rockstar engine. Anyway, where were we? We were trying to find out why that new test that I just added is not being picked up or running. And so this is rockstar.test, and I'm looking for the v1 fixtures. Why is that commented out? There we go. Member data, name of all fixture files, and all example files, and examples is in programs, examples, 09 arrays, modify array inside loop.rock. So that's the thing that should be running. So all example files should include that yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, why the heck is that not working? Because it hasn't been added to the solution. That's why. Copy to output directory, copy always. Copy to output directory needs to be set to copy always. Otherwise, it's not on the file system, which means ncrunch doesn't pick it up when it runs the build. All right, so that's cranking through. So this is now on 2.0.7. It's going to build the engine, which should then trigger the Windows and macOS binaries, which will crank through. Okay, good. So now we have a failing test. So if I switch off the passing tests in here, there we go. And now if I open up that one, reload that, close that, refresh that window, there we go. That's my outputs left and right. That's mysterious. That's that. So the problem, I think, is that rock is an enlist. So if we look at what enlist is doing in the environment parser, all right, so it's gonna look up the variable. So that's gonna values what, and then this thing here is okay. So the problem is that when we run inside a loop, the loop sets a... maybe loops shouldn't extend scope. Okay, so what this boils down to in a nutshell is... yeah, I think maybe loops extending scope is a mistake. Let's say you got a piece of code like this. So you've got like var x equals so var things equals what we got, like ABC, right? Okay. So you've got that, and then down here you've got var key equals hey, and then if you said for each key in things, print key, and then you said print key, what do you expect key to do here? And I suspect that let me see what SharpLab does with this, actually. Let's see what sensible languages invented by grown-ups who weren't taking the piss do. Var things equals 1, 2, 3. For each var thing in things. Yeah. SharpLab got a bug. Yeah, all right. All right. All right. Okay. Cool. So loops shouldn't extend scope. So we got for in loops and for of loops. And yeah, loops shouldn't act as functions. So that shouldn't happen. So that should just be that's a terrible name for that. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. No, loops acting as a function doesn't make sense, because if a loop acts as a function, the loop creates a function scope. And variables in Rockstar are function scoped unless they're global, which means if the body of a loop looks like the body of a function, then anything that happens inside the loop disappears when the loop is finished. And you don't want that, because you want the loop to be able to modify like set properties and variables and stuff. You shouldn't need to think about all of those kinds of things in it. So I think maybe the simplest solution is just to do that and that. And see how many things that breaks. All right, that looks pretty promising. I mean, it's better that I have no idea where that's a string. All right, so I think something has gone slightly wrong. Not a lot, just a little, just a tiny bit wrong. Um, yes. Hang on, that's not quite right, but it's almost quite right. Let points at key be point. So I think that will give me the output I want from this one any second now. Yes, I just need that in there and that in there. And then we're just gonna do the same thing. Let lists at key be point. Let points at key be point. Rock lists at key we're using point. Yes. I think that's it. I think that's got it. Okay. So what do we got? That is... So I'm just going to commit but not push. Yeah, that's in. There's a bunch of stuff in here that I'm just going to discard. That can go. That can go. That can go. Discard changes. Acid test, we can discard the changes because nothing actually changed. That exists elsewhere, so delete the file. The csproj file we need, and launch settings.json. Ignore. Yes. And stage that. So this is do not put for loops in right. Now let's clean the code up. Rockstar environment, so all right, so that scope equals this gets hacked out. That becomes this dot set variable. That becomes this dot set variable, and that just becomes this dot execute. And that comes out. That becomes this dot set variable. That's a this dot set variable. That's a this dot execute. That exception can be target typed. That exception can be target typed. And these look like these two chunks of code here, they look so similar that every time I'm looking at this, I'm like, what is there some like way of just writing a single loop? Because the variance here is that the top one enumerates across a list. I like the colors. Colors make me happy. Um, I think maybe this is something to come and clean up later. What is that doing? Oh, that's nice. Oh, pattern matching. We love you. Yes, we do. All right. All right. I think, given that we have solved Advent of Code, got both stars, and found a weird scoping bug in Rockstar, and figured out the problem with it, and figured out how to make it better, and solved all the things and everything, that possibly I am gonna wrap it up for today. Fix weird scoping bug with loops and arrays. Boom, that's done. Yep, there's that. Now, if I just pull, I should get a fresh version number in here somewhere. There we go, Rockstar Environment 2.0.7. All right. Cool, there we go, that's in. Sweet. I'll be back tomorrow. Another day, another stars. Gotta get them stars. And let's push that up, and that should all be live on codewithrockstar.com in about 3 or 4 minutes if I can get the GitHub actions to fire the right things in the right order. Yes, so that one there is, I think, fixed. All right. I tend to use GitHub in a browser. The GitHub CLI just yeah yeah. I like clicky stuff. I type when I'm programming, and the rest of the time I click on things. Um, anyway, all right. Fun stream, folks. That was, wow, 3.5 hours. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at some point, probably in the afternoon, having a look at part 2. I'm on a couple of leaderboards, and one of the folks on one of my leaderboards is in Australia, and people in Australia have a massive unfair advantage with advent of code, because in Australia, the new puzzles come out about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so you can sit down and be like, all right, and then you get the stars for getting them earlier than anybody else. And then the rest of us in Europe, you want to do it in Europe, you've got to get up at 5 a.m. Because that's when the new puzzles drop, because they drop at midnight New York time. So in America, they just stay up really late and do it before bed. But yeah. Thank you for hanging out, folks. That was fun. I'll catch you all on the